Well, good morning to you all. How about a hoo? That was pretty good. We might try a couple others then. How about an Army Strong?
Army Strong!
Go Navy!
Go Navy!
Hoorah!
Hoorah!
Air Power!
Air Power!
And happy 4th of July to all of you, and to each and every one of you, thanks very, very much. Special welcome to some of our other guests who are here, Afghan officials, I think, other general officers, to COM RC South, Mountain 6, thanks. But most of all, thanks to all of you for being here today as we celebrate what all of Americans recognize as our founding 235 years ago. It's an honor to be with each of you. Indeed, it's a privilege to be celebrating Americans' birthday with all of you, and particularly with the 235 troopers who are raising their right hands today and reciting the oath of enlistment. The truth is, there's nowhere I would rather celebrate our Independence Day than right here in Afghanistan, serving alongside America's soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, and shoulder to shoulder with our Afghan and coalition partners as we work together to help bring greater security and hope to the Afghan people. I know that a lot of you have also been deployed a number of 4th of Julys in the last decade or so, and indeed this is my 8th 4th of July deployed overseas in the 11 years we have seen. And thanks to the leadership of my longtime senior enlisted wingman, Command Sergeant Major Hill, with whom I've spent a number of those 4th of Julys, and the remarkable commitment of troopers like you here today, we're going to have a great celebration of our nation's birthday. Indeed, it's become a bit of a tradition to mark our nation's birthday with an extraordinary display of commitment and patriotism like this one. I don't think there's any more inspiring action than that which you 235 troopers will undertake this morning. Nor can I think of an action that more powerfully symbolizes the commitment and patriotism that all of you and all of our coalition and Afghan partners live out each and every day here in this country. This is a day about, and a ceremony about, as Mountain 6 said, the red, white, and true. True ideals, true commitment, and above all, true patriotism. Each of you here is a committed patriot who understands the truth expressed by America's 28th President, Woodrow Wilson, when he said, "Patriotism is not a mere sentiment. No man can be a true patriot who does not feel himself shot through and through with a deep ardor for what his country stands for, what its existence means, what its purpose is declared to be in its history and in its policy." Among us today are also some Afghan patriots and patriots from some coalition nations. As a familiar Afghan proverb says, "Harkas ra watan ash Kashmir ast." Everyone's nation is a Kashmir, a great homeland to them. But each of you here with an American flag on your shoulder is a patriot with a deep allegiance to our great nation and to all for which it has stood for some 235 years, for freedom and liberty, for equality and opportunity. And like generations of American troopers before you, each of you has demonstrated that patriotism is an action word. You raised your right hand and said, "Send me," when our country called. And today you raise your right hand again and say, "Send me again if needed." Moreover, like those troopers of earlier days, you have consistently displayed the very qualities that make America and Americans so great. Extraordinary determination, remarkable innovativeness, and indomitable strength of spirit and will. Indeed, these are the qualities that are displayed day in and day out by ISAF and Afghan troopers across Afghanistan. As we honor today not just our Independence Day, but also the extraordinary commitment those in formation are making, we might recall the deeds of the very first generation of American soldiers shortly after our nation's first Independence Day. In the cold winter of 1776, with thousands of soldiers' enlistments about to expire and the fate of our fledgling nation uncertain, Thomas Paine captured the challenges of the times in his paper titled The American Crisis. "These are the times that try men's souls," he wrote. "The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman." The militiamen of the Revolution proved not to be summer soldiers. So did generations of men and women in uniform in the wars that followed and in the years that followed. And I know that there are no sunshine patriots in this crowd. Your enduring commitment to our country and to her missions has been truly impressive. And I know that it has involved great sacrifice, with all of you enduring long separations from your loved ones, pressing on in crushing summer heat and harsh winter cold, and persevering against tough, adaptive enemies. What you have already done is extraordinary, and America can never thank you enough. Yet here 235 of you will stand, ready to re-enlist for another tour of service or to reaffirm your recent re-enlistment by reciting the oath of enlistment, knowing full well that your commitment will likely entail another long separation from loved ones and more tough battles with the enemy. I cannot say how impressive your action is. Indeed, your unwavering resolve and strength of purpose are truly inspirational and are the most meaningful display of patriotism possible. Like those first American troopers, and like America's service members ever since, those who stormed the beaches of Normandy, who held fast on and off the shores of Iwo Jima, who fought through the rice paddies of Korea, who patrolled and flew over the jungles of Vietnam, you stand ready to complete the most difficult of missions. For nearly 10 years here in Afghanistan and for more than 7 years in Iraq, you and your comrades in arms have raised your right hands again and again and said, "Send me," unrelenting in your resolve to see through our tough endeavors in these two ancient lands. That is indeed, as the name of today's ceremony proclaims, enduring commitment. It is red, white, and true. You know, I speak often these days of the importance of the international community's enduring commitment to our shared endeavor here and to the Afghan people. That commitment was expressed powerfully by the United States early last year and by the international community at the NATO Lisbon Summit last fall and at various ministerials in Europe since then, with all nations involved committing to see through the gradual transition to Afghan responsibility for security by the end of 2014. It's a commitment that continues now, even as we begin the withdrawal of forces announced by President Obama last month. That national level commitment, however, would not be possible without the enduring commitment of men and women like all of you here today and those you represent who are serving throughout Afghanistan. Indeed, your enduring commitment is at the heart of the commitment of the United States and of the international community to our critical work here. You should know that thanks to your enduring 4-season commitment, we have seen and we are seeing progress here in the shadow of the Hindu Kush. Over the past year, as you know, we and our coalition and Afghan partners have cleared the Taliban from important, long-held safe havens, some not far from the fence line around Kandahar Airfield. We've removed hundreds of insurgent commanders from the battlefield, restricted insurgent freedom of movement, and increasingly disrupted enemy logistics and command and control. All of this, together with efforts on the governance and development fronts, has enabled the beginning of transition to Afghan security responsibility, with the first tranche of provinces and municipalities announced by President Karzai in March to begin within a couple of weeks. To be sure, and without question, much hard work remains. But the gains of the past year have been significant, and they have only been possible because of the courage, commitment, and skill of troopers like you, American troopers, and our Afghan comrades and coalition partners. So today I'd like to thank each of you here for the hard work you are doing to achieve further important progress in our critical mission. Thanks for your extraordinary service to our country, to the coalition countries, and to Afghanistan, and for the many sacrifices that has entailed. And again, for the American troopers here, thank you for your willingness to spend this, our national holiday, our nation's 235th birthday, apart from your loved ones and in a combat zone. Finally, for the 235 of you about to raise your right hand and repeat the oath of enlistment, I'd particularly like to thank you. Thanks for your willingness to continue serving our country, our military, and your comrades in arms. Each and every one of you, each and every day, is indeed making a difference, doing the hard work our country requires in the toughest of circumstances. And we owe each of you and each of your families at home our deepest gratitude. You and your comrades here have been described as America's new greatest generation. And in my view, you have more than earned that description. Indeed, it's the greatest of honors to soldier here with you and with your coalition and Afghan partners, and to spend my last July 4th in uniform here with you. Thank you all very much. Hua.